Today's episode comes to you straight from the Foundation Insurance Services podcast studio, your home for elevating voices, inspiring leaders, and building the community one conversation at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, we'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach even higher.
Hit submit on it, and I felt so accomplished because I'd worked 8 months to put this thing together. Then immediately I had this incredible panic attack. Christmas is in a couple weeks, and I have to put another one of these together on January 5th. I realized I have no idea how I'm going to put the next one together.
Hey there, welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. I'm your host, Jan Simon, and this season we're raising the bar, diving into the passion, purpose, and defining moments of leaders who don't just aim high, they live there. Big ideas, real stories. Let's get into it. Today's guest is a true community builder. Matt Dallas lives right here in Gilbert with his wife, Nicole, their daughters, and a full house that includes 2 dogs, chickens, and even a rabbit. Since 2014, Matt has been the driving force behind Val Vista Lakes and Seville Stroll publications and N2, that looks weird, N2 marketing? That's weird. That's not supposed to be there. That's okay. We'll cut it out. I'll say, since 2014, Matt has been the driving force behind the Val Vista Lakes and Seville Stroll publications, connecting neighbors, spotlighting local businesses, and giving back to nonprofits in a meaningful way. Ranked in the top 20 nationwide among nearly 600 Stroll franchises, Matt leads with faith, family, and a genuine passion for making Gilbert stronger. This is a conversation about impact, connection, and building community on purpose. Matt Dallas.
That sounds good.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. Kind of doctored it up. All right. 2 daughters.
Yes, 2 girls.
One daughter's a sophomore in college.
Yep. Yeah.
Which that blows me away. I don't feel like I've known you that long, and I feel like she was very young when I first met you.
We've known each other for a while.
Like 14 or 15 years, I think.
Probably close to that. Yeah.
I think that's probably right.
12, 13.
Yeah. That's crazy.
She's thriving. She's at NAU.
That's awesome.
She is taking the Cutco world by storm.
Oh, really?
She just started selling Cutco recently.
Oh, I should reach out to her. I just had somebody send me a Cutco knife.
Yeah.
My parents have had Cutco like my entire life, and I think you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
But I just got this knife, and I'm like, we need to get Cutco stuff.
Yeah, dude.
It's badass knives.
Yeah, I think if I can just brag on her for a
Yeah,
second,
go for it.
So I wanted her to sell Cutco when she finished high school, and because I wanted it for her, she wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And then she was having a hard time finding a job at NAU, and she was working for me part-time, but I couldn't get it. I didn't have enough hours for her. So she came to us right before Christmas. She said, hey, I signed up to start selling Cutco.
No.
She's probably one of the only people who went to Cutco and said, hey, I want to do this. Like, when can I get started?
Yeah. Without them getting her, right. Hey, we've got this opportunity.
Right. And yeah, she started in the Christmas program, and she killed it right out of the gate. And I want to say she's like top maybe 15 in the country right now.
Wow.
Something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super proud of her. She's working towards the scholarship and just doing really well. So
that is so cool.
And she's on track to graduate early. I think she's going to graduate when she's probably 20.
Wow.
Something like that.
Wow.
So,
that's awesome.
So that's Maddie. And Bree, our youngest, is going to be 13 in a few weeks.
Okay.
And we homeschool her. She's doing awesome. She started running track.
Very cool.
We just signed her up for football, so she's going to start trying to play football around her track schedule.
Oh, wow.
She's learning to sew. She takes sewing classes, cooking classes, and we homeschool her through Liberty University Online Academy.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Those are
Is Liberty associated with Hillcrest?
No. Hillcrest, I believe, is in Michigan.
Okay.
Liberty is in Virginia.
Okay. For some reason, I felt like there was some tie there. Yeah. And then Nicole, your wife.
Yep. Yeah.
Dogs.
Yeah. So Nicole and I we celebrated our dating anniversary.
Okay.
Which was February 24th, 2004. Is that right?
This is like 22 years?
Yeah, 22 years. So,
wow.
So that was like last week.
Cool.
So we've been together for a while. And then we have 2 dogs. Yeah. So Nicole and I have been together
Awesome.
for a long time. We have the 2 girls. We have 2 doodles. We have a brindle and a golden doodle.
Okay.
So we're doodle people, apparently.
Are they hyper?
The Bernedoodle is.
Yeah.
The golden doodle's older. She's
Okay.
probably 11
Okay.
at this point. And she's pretty chill.
Yeah.
She kind of does what she wants. She's kind of ornery, like old woman,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And you have a chicken or multiple chickens?
We have multiple chickens.
Okay.
Cannot disclose how many chickens we have.
Because they're in the neighborhood. What do they say? You can have 2,
We have chickens.
You can have a rooster.
We love our chicken. We don't have a rooster.
Okay.
But we love our chickens, and they're like pets now. So
Yeah.
And
Do they lay eggs for you?
Yeah, they do.
They propagate a lot of eggs.
Yeah, I went out. We got like 5 eggs yesterday. So
Wow,
so
that's
it's nice.
cool.
Yeah.
That helps with the bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Or with the lifting,
I
I should
do my
say.
Rocky shake every morning.
Do
I
ya?
have 2 raw eggs after I work out, so that's great.
Nice.
Yeah, chickens is an interesting. They all have names. So once they have names, they're pets.
Okay.
So they all have names, and they kind of do what they want to do. One of our dogs, Kemper, our younger one, the Bernedoodle, she figured out how to open the back door, like the sliding door.
Okay.
So sometimes she'll open the door, she'll go outside, and then chickens will just walk inside. So if the door's open for more than about a minute,
The chickens inside.
living room full of chickens.
Oh my gosh, that's
so
so funny.
it keeps it interesting. And then we do. You mentioned the rabbit, so we have a rabbit, and it was Bree's rabbit, and I'm like attached to the rabbit now too. So I thought I'd be attached to a rabbit, but
That's funny.
rabbit's cool.
Is the rabbit fairly tame where it'll come up to you and let you
Yeah.
hold it and pet it and stuff?
Yeah, she's cool.
That's
She
awesome.
jumps around, does the little tricks for us, and we just kind of hang out with the rabbit, Bree and me.
That's
It's a
awesome.
little daddy-daughter bonding kind of situation.
That's so cool.
And the
That's
dog.
cool. So
That's it.
let's rewind
Okay.
first. New York Mets. Did you grow up in New York?
I didn't know you were going to bring this up. I'm kind of.
Are you not a Mets fan anymore?
I don't think so. I think
No
I'm
kidding.
I think I'm done. I don't know.
Really?
I think I'm done with the
They
Mets.
broke your heart too many times.
I think they did. I think we're. I think the
That's
relationship
awesome.
might be over.
So now you're going to become a Chicago White Sox fan?
I'm done with. I don't know. I think I'm done with professional baseball. I think it's
Oh.
time for me to. I don't know. Progress. in
Savannah
life.
Bananas?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, but it's supposed to be really fun. I follow some of those guys on Instagram. They're good.
Yeah.
They seem like good dudes. Well, I started following baseball in the 80s in New York, and in 86, the Mets won the World Series. So that's when I was I don't know, like 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was a very impressionable time. The Mets were the best team in baseball and had a few more good years. So I was a Mets fan. So I've been a Mets fan ever since. And then,
Hoping they get back there at some point.
yeah, well, they went in 2015.
Right.
And I went to the World Series on a whim.
Oh, wow.
And I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm going to follow them anymore. I don't know. They fire sold the team over the fall,
Yeah.
for the most part, and Pete Alonso was my favorite.
Yeah, it's so rough in any professional sports, I think, anymore because, it's there's really not a lot of long standing. You get 1 or 2 players, right?
Yeah.
But then if they win a series, win a championship, whatever it is, it's like, okay, now we're losing these key guys. And
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of stepped back and examined fandom as an adult, and some people I understand, like they're totally into it, like that's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've just grown personally and with my family and my wife and everything, like I think that is for me, it's time to kind of put that chapter behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So the off season for the Mets was probably a good close to that.
gotcha.
To that chapter of
let it go.
my life. Yeah. So I'm moving forward, and
I'm going to ask you in 6 months when the Mets are in the series if they
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
they pull off some miraculous,
Who knows? That's just the way it goes, probably. No, I was glad I went to the World Series, though.
that'd be cool.
I was watching Game 4. So this is 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It was 11 years ago, I guess.
Wow.
And I was watching Game 4, and it was 11 o'clock at night or something, and they happened to win Game 4 to extend the series 1 game. And I just decided, I'm going to go.
No kidding.
So I went on StubHub, found tickets, flight,
Wow.
and got to the airport. Almost missed my flight. Got to LaGuardia, and I don't know why. I can't remember why, but for some reason I walked from LaGuardia to the stadium.
Oh my gosh.
Super sketchy. And the game, they ended up losing Game 5, lost the whole World Series in Game 5. That was agonizing to watch your team lose the World Series at home.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't get an Uber or a taxi or anything back to the airport. So I walked, it was like midnight or 1 o'clock, I don't even know. So I walked from LaGuardia all the way, or walked from Citi Field all the way back to LaGuardia through Queens in the middle of the night.
Oh my God.
Probably lucky I'm still here.
I say you're lucky you're still alive.
It was a good, it was, you know, it was one of those things, like it's a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, memories.
You go for it. And
Memories.
yeah.
Did you go alone?
I had a friend who's also a diehard Mets fan.
Okay.
Who's actually the CEO of our company now. And he had another friend, and we ended up working out where I ended up going with his friend.
Okay.
Because at the last second, he couldn't make it. But
Gotcha.
so I had somebody to go with, but I was going no matter what.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's cool. I mean,
it was a good story.
I actually, when the Seahawks made it to the Super Bowl this year, not the first time or whatever, but I was like, it's in San Francisco. Even if I have to, I can drive out there. I looked at tickets. I'm like, no, I'm not going.
Right? Probably a $5,000 or something.
Oh yeah, nosebleed, back row. $8,000. I'm like, yeah, no. Yeah. And I guess they started coming down a little bit, but I was like, yeah, I'm not going. And really, something like that, it's almost better to watch it in your own living room, anyways.
If you're a real fan too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because you can really get into the game.
I think I think what happens, and I don't know if the World Series is really like this. I was kind of surprised, but from what I've heard, I've never been to the Super Bowl. I've heard the Super Bowl is very corporate, so it's kind of like more of a corporate thing to go to the Super Bowl, and it's less about the actual fans, like less maybe about the Seahawk fans, and it is like people who maybe follow the Seahawks, but it's more like I'm going to the Super Bowl corporate kind of experience.
Gotcha.
So
that makes sense. I mean, especially since the money that it costs to go, and it's ridiculous. So, did you grow up in New York?
Yes, I grew up in New York through high school.
Okay, where in New York?
Upstate New York, which if you're from New York City, people think upstate is just like right outside the city, but I'm from like
Syracuse?
We'll call it real upstate, yeah. So when I was little, I lived in Little Falls, which is near Utica. I spent some time in Utica, and then for most of we moved from Little Falls to near Syracuse, Central Square, when I was in 6th grade. So 6th grade till graduating high school.
I'm trying to remember where Frank is from. I feel like
he's from East Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah. So he and I have talked about that.
Have you? Okay.
So, yeah. So
and then
I think he went to Ludden. I think it was Bishop Ludden. There's a couple different schools like that, but we would play ESM was East Syracuse Manoa.
Okay.
This is going in the Wayback Machine. So in Central Square would play ESM. We didn't play. I think his school was in a different league. I think he played basketball. Yeah. He knew some kids from Central Square. But yeah, all that that upstate New York, Syracuse area.
Interesting.
That's where I'm from.
It's crazy. Small world. If you know Dan and Del Salisbury, Dan is from like the same town as Frank is.
Really?
Yeah.
From East Syracuse. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think I've met him.
Yeah. So Del owns Del Shootery.
Yeah. I know
and then
Del.
Dan.
That's super interesting. Yeah. Frank is really, I think, the only person I've ever met out here from there.
Oh, really?
I can't think of anybody else I've met from
crazy.
Syracuse.
Yeah. And I feel like Dan and he, at one point I remember a conversation where it was like across the street and like he knows this guy that knows this guy. They basically decided they were brothers. It's like they'd like that close.
Yeah.
So tell me what growing up for you. What was that like? I mean, in New York. I mean, obviously, you probably got a couple inches of snow in the winter.
This episode is made possible by our partners at Built Different Restoration. When water, fire, or mold damage hits your home or business, you need a local team you can trust to respond fast and do it right. Learn more at BuiltDifferentRestoration.com.
Shout out to Guidance Alliance, a trusted peer advisory group for business owners who want honest answers, not motivation posters. Small groups, weekly sessions, ideas that actually work. Visit guidancealliance.com to learn more.
Yeah, I just looked this up a couple days ago. Syracuse is the snowiest city in the United States.
No kidding.
One of the snowiest in the whole world.
Oh, wow.
It gets more snow for large cities in the whole country.
Wow.
And it was funny. I was looking at this the other day, and the record snowfall was in 92, 93. And I distinctly remember that season of snow. I mean, we got so much snow. I think we had almost 200 inches of snow that year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I remember where we lived, and for most of that time, I was raised by my mom and my brother and my sister.
Okay.
And like I remember that season specifically, you know, all that snow and where we lived and everything. But growing up, I started playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
So in junior, I think I was playing baseball in like Little League and that kind of thing. And then I didn't play baseball in junior high. I played baseball in high school, and I ran track in junior high for a season. And then I started playing baseball and running cross country. And I was awful in cross country, but we had a really good team. So I had some cool experiences with cross country in high school. And I was awful in baseball. I was the worst ever as a freshman.
Really?
And then I ended up getting pretty good and had a good senior season in high school, and ended up going and playing a year at a school in Philadelphia for my freshman year in college.
Very cool. When you were in school, kind of in those developmental years of, you know, sports and kind of figuring that out, were there people in that time period that had some influence on you with regards to kind of keeping you straight and narrow, or were you more of a wild child and sports were just a hobby?
Super funny you asked me that. I didn't know what questions you were going to ask me, so now this is good.
Drink up.
So I'll tell you my little baseball story.
Okay.
I think this is a good story, by the way. I tell my girls this story, try to inspire them. So believe it or not, when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, I was actually tall. Okay. So I had a growth spurt in like 7th grade and then never grew again.
Oh, no kidding.
What happened. So I started playing first base. So I played first base for a while, and that's where I played in high school and everything. But I was playing first base, made the freshman baseball team. So in our school, we had freshman, JV, and varsity.
Okay.
So I wasn't good. I got cut, or I didn't make the team when I tried out in 8th grade, but I made it in 9th grade. And I was not very good once the season started. And I actually didn't get a hit for the whole season.
Oh, no.
So they started playing me a little bit. I couldn't get a hit, saved my life. And then I didn't get much playing time because you don't play people who don't hit. So I went, it was something like 0 for 13.
Okay.
So I literally went 0 for my whole season. And that's not good, right? That's about as bad as you can get.
I mean, even catchers hit better than pitchers hit better than.
Yeah. So, you know, in most cases, I think people would give up. But I really wanted to play baseball, and I enjoyed it. And I used to be good in Little League.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know, there had to be something there. But I was also running. So I ran cross country, which is kind of counterproductive because you try to get fast for baseball, and then you have to build slow twitch to, you know, muscles to run cross country. But I was trying to do both. And then before my sophomore year, I ran indoor track. And I was trying to get faster. So I was working on my speed, my strength, and just practicing a ton. I got some tools to help me learn how to hit and just practice and swing, like thousands and thousands of swings. And I ended up making the JV team as a sophomore.
Okay.
Did a little bit better, got my first hit, which is good.
Yeah.
And then I kept practicing. And my junior year, I was actually pretty good. But I partied a lot in high school.
Okay.
And one of my friends who I just reconnected with, I haven't seen him in almost 30 years. I saw him a few weeks ago. And he kind of took me under his wing. He's like one of the older guys on the team, the seniors. I was a junior, and we partied a lot, but we had a really fun time. I didn't play very well. The partying and the baseball didn't seem to go well for me as a junior.
Yeah.
But I kept at it, and by the time I was a senior, I led our team in hitting. And I don't know. It's like, I think doubles. I was like a doubles hitter. So I led our team in hitting, doubles, I think runs, RBIs, stuff like that. And kind of pulled it all together. So I went from this 0 for season as a freshman to, you know, being decent. All league and decent, right? For upstate New York. Because we have to like shovel the field to play. Right. So you don't, it's not like Arizona, right? Like you don't get this long season. You get like whatever, you can play whenever the field's not under snow, you know?
Yeah.
It's not very much. So it was, you know, for me, it was looking back, it's kind of inspirational. You know,
that's awesome.
I did it, how I went through that.
What position did you play on the field?
So in high school, I ended up playing first base. I got really good around the bag first base. I had really good footwork. I could move and handle throws and all that kind of stuff. Plus, when I started figuring out baseball, I was tall at the time, right? And
Your growth plate stopped at
man.
at some point.
Or probably 7th grade, I don't know. But when I went to college, there was a guy who was kind of had first base kind of locked down, so I kind of transitioned to the outfield. So when I was in Philly, I played for a year in Philly. It was D2. I was primarily like, if I got playing time, I was in the outfield.
Okay.
And at that point I was pretty fast, so I would like go pinch run in certain situations, and they would kind of use me for that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So that was my baseball. And then I ended up going to school in Tucson. So here's the progression. Went to school in Philly for a year.
Okay.
Textile, which is now Jefferson University. And then, long story, but I ended up going to Tucson and going to school at Pima Community College.
Oh, wow.
For a year.
How'd you get down there?
My dad lived there. It's
Okay. I was saying, can we ask that question?
No, it was, it was long story. There was a girl, and it was this whole thing. But
somebody else just told me about a girl that destroyed their life.
So anyways, I would go to school in Tucson for a year, and I played in a men's league for baseball in Tucson, which is probably more competitive than the D2 school I played at.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was fun. And then ended up going back to Albany. So I finished my last 2 years, junior, senior year, graduated from SUNY Albany in New York.
Okay.
And that was kind of my college.
What's your degree in?
So I have, it's like psychology and business. So
Okay.
I had like part major in psychology and part in marketing, like business.
Okay.
Yeah.
After school,
After school, did Cutco thing still.
Okay.
So I started selling Cutco after my senior year of high school
Oh, wow.
when I was 17, and did that through college, ran an office when I was a junior in college, and what they call branch office. So basically what you do is you go from the end of your, like I did my junior year. So it was as soon as school finished my junior year, all summer until I went back to as a senior, I opened an office, recruit, train, and ran an office for a summer with Cutco, which was amazing.
I say that's got to be some pretty incredible experience at a young age to do
it's
that.
awesome. It's I don't know if there's anything better than that. Like it's super cool. Yeah, and great experience, and yeah, it was just a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then finished my senior year, and then went to open another Cutco office, kind of what they call the career office, district office, when I finished at Albany when I graduated.
How did you get here?
So 2001, I graduated and start this office, and a bit of, I think, ego. So I did really well as a junior. I was one of the top in the region as a junior, like top 10, and with some top national, recognition, that kind of stuff. And I didn't train as well as I should have going into my senior year. So when I went out after I graduated, I didn't do very well, and it was
In baseball.
in Cutco.
Or in Cutco.
World.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So professionally, you have to keep training and getting better. And
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
right? So I think the ego kind of got to me a little bit, and I started off, and I didn't do very well, and had to really kind of pull it together. And I started working crazy hours, like crazy hours in upstate New York where the weather wasn't great, and I just ran myself into the ground.
Yeah.
So this was I graduated in May, opened the office in May, and now we're in the fall. Mm-hmm. And this is right around September 11th. I get really sick. Did I ever tell you about when I got sick? Did you ever hear this? Did we ever talk about this?
I don't think so.
So I get really sick.
Okay.
But I'm trying to save this office, trying to save this business because we didn't do very well. Mm-hmm. And I'm working my butt off, and things are starting to actually turn around. And so I'm self-medicating, and I just know I'm in bad shape. I didn't know exactly what was wrong, but I knew I was in bad shape. So I go to the emergency room, and so it's kind of, not funny. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. So my mouth is a wreck, and it just looks super gross. And the doctor's like, "Oh, you have herpes, so we're going to give you a shot." So they give you a shot in the butt for herpes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, well, I don't think that's it, but you're the doctor.
Right.
So they send me home, and a few hours later, I'm like, I am really, really sick.
Yeah.
So I go back to the emergency room, and they're like, you're really sick. We need to take you in right now. So I had double pneumonia. I had mycoplasma pneumonia in both lungs, and I was developing, and I don't know if it was from the shot it was probably from the shot along with all the self-medicating I was doing and the different things I was taking, like ibuprofen and all this stuff. I had a thing called Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And it's like an autoimmune reaction.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And it was real bad. So go back in, get admitted. Within a few days, I can't see. I can't talk, and I'm in the ICU.
Oh my
And
God.
everybody thought I was going to die. I was like, I got to save this business.
And that's all you could think about.
So yeah, it's all I could think about
Wow.
was how do I save this business, because it was the only thing, like, that's what I was doing. Right?
Yeah.
And I had and I don't know where it is, but I probably have it somewhere. I had this notebook, and they used to put my hand on the notebook, and I would write things to answer questions, because I was in like really bad shape. And eventually, after about a week or so in the ICU, I like had a turn. I like started to turn for the better, and like within 3 weeks, I ended up getting out of the hospital.
Wow.
But I was still in rough shape.
It's almost like, higher power saying you need to slow down or something.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was God like trying to put me in my place, and like, you need to readjust a little bit, slow down. But because I was in such bad shape, I couldn't really stay in upstate New York with my lungs. So I ended up coming out to Arizona for a while to stay with my dad. Eventually, I ended up going back to New York, restarting my office because it was gone. Like, everything was gone. I was starting from scratch. All my employees quit and everything because I was literally there one day and then disappeared the next day.
No kidding.
And yeah, it was at a time where it really needed my attention. Mm-hmm. So I ended up restarting it, set these big goals, and we crushed it that next summer. So the summer used to be big in Cutco because you recruit all these like high school and college kids, and we killed it. I did everything I wanted to do, but then I started to get sick again as the weather turned, and I got really nervous and a lot of fear, and I just decided I can't. The prospect of going into another cold season with my lungs the way they were, I just couldn't stomach it. So I ended up closing my office and moving to Arizona. And that was in 2002.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were you in Tucson at that point?
Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad lived in Phoenix at that point, and I came down and got a job at 24 Hour Fitness for a hot minute. Then went back to Cutco again.
Hey, if it works. I mean,
Yeah,
it
was one of those things. I had the skills, and I was able to kind of plug into a local office, and we did some really cool stuff. It was a privilege. I got to work with a guy named Mike, and he ran the division, and I helped run his local office here, and we got by. We did okay. I had some other issues that summer, but our division was the number one division in the company, and we still that summer. That year, I think there's still records from what we set, they're the oldest standing records in Cutco, actually, which is kind of cool.
That's incredible.
To be part of that team. It was cool to be part of that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's impressive that, going through that, basically knocking on death's doorstep.
Yeah, for sure.
Death's door, whatever, however you want to say that. And then coming back and then going back into it and being successful is pretty impressive.
You know what I learned going through that was how important momentum is. Because I was in rough shape, and I don't want to be too graphic because people are going to watch this or whatever. But the thing that I had when I was in the hospital, I had to kind of take care of myself, like my face and my eyes and that kind of thing, because I was having trouble speaking and with my eyes and everything. And if I didn't keep on top of it, and I don't know how to describe it, but I needed to do that consistently to get better. There are certain things I had to do consistently to get better, and if I didn't do them, I start to slide backwards. But if I did them, I would start to build momentum, and I could feel myself getting better. And that's when I really understood the power of momentum and how doing things consistently leads to momentum. And once I did that consistently enough, I started to get better enough to where I could then get myself out of the hospital. And that was a big lesson I think I took out of that.
Yeah, that's huge. Two things I know about you, having known you for a couple of years and things. One is I feel like your faith is extremely important to you.
Yes. Yep.
At what point did that enter into your life, and how has that helped you navigate maybe some of these issues, or was it there when you were going through that stuff?
That's a good question. I was raised in a Catholic home. Well, my mom took me to churches, and we went to Catholic church, Catholic mass or whatever. So I was always raised in that environment, but I think probably it really took hold and grew after I moved here and moved to Phoenix and started. I have a friend who invited me to church in Glendale. Okay. And Jeremy, and he was really influential in getting me into the kind of church environment that we're in now. And I think that was that was really the where my faith, I think, really solidified and then started to grow more.
Gotcha.
So I always had this underlying, been around church, been in church. I have some thoughts on that, but I'm just going to adjust this.
Yeah.
But it was really, I would say in when was that? Probably 2000, I don't know, 5, 6, something like that, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, we started going to a church in Glendale, an amazing pastor I'm still friends with today. And that's really when I started to grow in my faith, I think. Started to read the Bible, started to understand what the Bible actually said. And yeah, for me today still, it's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This podcast is powered by Above Par Network, where networking isn't about awkward mixers or endless pitches. It's about genuine relationships, real opportunities, and having a good time doing it. If you're ready for networking that actually works, visit AboveParNetwork.com.
This episode is powered by 5 Leaf Financial, expert accountants, tax preparers, and CFOs who help you make smarter financial choices. If you want peace of mind around your finances, visit 5leaf.net.
Well, I think I admire that about you. The other thing that I've noticed is you're a very scholared individual. You read a lot, I feel.
Yeah, I try to read a lot, yeah.
At what point did that enter in? I mean, have you always been a reader, or did you have to kind of force yourself to get into
something my mom instilled in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was partly, my mom always tried to get me to read stuff, and I probably resisted. It's just like me trying to get Maddie to do stuff, and some resistance there because your parents trying to tell you stuff. But I think it was really with Cutco and learning how growing professionally results in growing personally results in professional growth. And there was a manager with Cutco, I think he's still around, I think it was Dan Cassetta, who kind of taught this idea of your business won't outgrow your professional growth.
Okay.
So if you want your business to grow, you have to grow professionally. And I started getting into sales books, which led to just different professional growth books, and just this appetite for wanting to learn and grow, improve, and maybe learn from other people's lessons, their mistakes, the things that they can share through a book lessons I can garner.
Yeah.
And you can pick up a book and get a whole series of lessons you hopefully don't have to live yourself firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it probably started in that early business when I was learning how to be a business person and salesperson, realizing that there's this whole avenue of professional growth that will lead to your business success.
Was there a particular book at that point that really spoke to you that you can remember that kind of sticks out and goes, God, that one probably...
I just consumed everything I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
A lot of sports mentality books. When I was learning how to play baseball in high school, I read The Mental Game of Baseball, which was super key to me going from somebody who literally couldn't get a hit to being good at baseball. Like I was good. It wasn't great, but I was good.
Yeah.
So
You're
the mental
good
game
enough
of
to
baseball.
play at D2. I mean, that's better than a lot of guys.
Like I was proficient, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That I've consumed a lot of Agmandino, I'm a big Agmandino fan. So the greatest success in the world, the greatest salesman in the world are both, I think, super valuable lessons and books. Are you familiar with those? So those are favorites of mine. All kinds of, I would say, like just business, professional growth, that kind of stuff. The one that I recommend to people who most people have not heard of this is Straight Line Leadership. And we did I was really fortunate. I was able to do a book club with the chamber back in, when was that?
It was during COVID, wasn't it?
2020?
I say I was in that, and
when was that? We did that.
I feel like it was during COVID because it was
either 2020 or 2021. Yeah, that was great. I love that book, Straight Line Leadership. I think it's a great book. So that's one I highly recommend to people.
Yeah, that is a great book. I would agree with you 100%. So you're in New York. You're selling Cutco, playing some baseball, get sick, move to Arizona, go back to selling Cutco.
Yeah.
What happened after Cutco?
Oh man!
I mean, how long did you do Cutco in Arizona?
Just like about a year.
Okay.
And then so we'll kind of go through the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe pretty quickly, but this is how it went. So I had an opportunity to help with a family business in New Jersey.
Okay.
my uncle was kind of an inventor. He worked for Scott, and he like invented the Swiffer and worked on stuff like that. But on the side, he liked to hunt and fish, and he invented crab traps.
Okay.
So for blue crabs, and he patented this like certain crab traps, and I had an opportunity to go help him with that business in 2004.
Okay.
So packed up, went to New Jersey.
Where in New Jersey?
It's like Vineland, Richland area, which is like an hour west of Atlantic City. Okay. And my job was to sell crab traps and mainly crab traps, but also some tackle up and down the eastern the shore in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while.
Christine's family has a place her aunt lives in Egg Harbor. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah, I know where Egg Harbor is.
Sorry, right on the wall.
I sold them crab traps.
I'm sure you probably did.
Pretty much everybody in that from like pretty much Tom's River down used our crab traps.
Oh, wow.
So I did that for a while. That didn't work out. Working with family business wasn't great. And then I go to Florida, got stuck in Florida. Long story, but I ended up staying in Florida for about a year.
Was there a girl involved?
Kind of. So Nicole was like putting up with me.
Oh, was she?
I was,
okay. Where you're out and about.
And yeah. And then she ended up moving to Florida. So we spent about a year in Florida. And we decided we were done with Florida. And we moved back to Arizona in 2005.
Okay. And then what'd you do when you got back here? Is that when N2 came along?
No. So I ended up going in kind of the corporate route for about 10 years.
Okay.
And I worked for a short time. I worked at Sprint and worked in a Sprint store selling cell phones, and then ended up at ADP, sold payroll for a few years, did some some software sales kind of stuff for a few years for a couple different companies. And then in 2014, I was still doing like B2B sales. Mm-hmm. So I did B2B sales for about 10 years. And I was between jobs. I was working someplace. I knew I didn't want to be there anymore. So I got a new job, but I wasn't supposed to start yet. And in that middle area, I decided I don't want to go work for somebody else anymore. And I knew some friends that were doing this newsletter thing. Mm-hmm. And I just called them up and I said, hey, tell me about this N2 newsletter thing. At the time it was N2 Publishing. Now it's N2 Company. And they were, like, hey, it's a legit thing. And it was a lot of my Cutco friends. So some of my Cutco friends went to N2. And I decided to give it a shot. So I called my employer-to-be and I said, I can't take the job. It was a big, like, Fortune 500 company. She's like, well, what are you going to do? Because it was a long recruiting process. I said, I'm going to start a neighborhood newsletter. There's like this silence.
Yeah.
You're going to do what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start a neighborhood newsletter. She's like, okay, good luck. And that was it. I took this leap of faith to go start my own business.
Up until that point, were there any, being in sales is a grind. And I don't care how you slice it, dice it, to use a Cutco phraseology there. Sales sucks. Sales is, to use an overblown and overused phrase, the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Yeah, it can be.
Were there times in there where you're like, I just don't know that I want to do this type of grind anymore? And have you ever had aspirations of doing anything other than sales?
Oh, man, that's a good question. From when I started or now or both?
Yeah.
All of it? Yes. Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay.
All I've ever done, literally the only thing I've ever done to make money is something sales related. Did the Cutco thing for a while, did corporate America for a while, and then since I think I left my job in March of 2014, and I got my first paycheck in December of 2014. So that was a long time of grinding it out with literally thousands of cold calls, not knowing if it was going to work.
Yeah.
Just hoping, praying that it would work.
Yeah.
And I had a burn the ships mentality. I said, I'm going to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
And it worked, thank God it worked.
Yeah. You still had friends who were doing it, the neighborhood publication stuff. Yeah. Is that what drew you to it? So it was kind of like there was a familiarity there, or what?
Yeah, I think it was the idea of doing something for myself.
Okay.
Investing in myself versus investing in somebody else. Mm-hmm. And the job prior to the job that I left was a great example of corporate America, I think, where I interviewed with this young woman who I thought she was going to be a great manager. I thought we clicked really well. I thought I was going to really enjoy being on her team. And I think there's this false security in corporate America. I think there's a false security that comes from working with a big company or being in that environment. And I don't think there's a lot of security in that, to be honest with you. So I accept this job. I leave what was a pretty good job, go to that job. And my first day, I walk in, and I was all excited to work with this manager. They're like, well, you're going to be on a different team. We just hired this new guy. You're going to be on his team. And that did not go well.
Yeah.
So I was like, I left my ADP job for this.
Not to cut you off.
Yeah, no.
But to, I guess, probably commiserate on some level with that. I was in a job doing fairly well, and I was applying around because I just wasn't really happy with the management and stuff that was going on. I was presented an opportunity on a entry-level management position, whatever. It was in North Phoenix, and same type of thing, like great story, whatever. Ended up taking the job, got in there. It was like nightmare.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I lasted, well, as long as it took me to get my next job.
Yeah.
I was out the door.
Yeah. I mean, they say, there's that saying that people don't leave companies, they leave managers. Mm-hmm. And managing people's hard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes companies promote the wrong people.
Right.
And Nick Saban talks a lot about that, about standards and how you run your team and what you tolerate, what the standards are. Yeah. And looking back, I've left a lot of managers. I didn't necessarily want to leave the job.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't work with that person, that manager. And I think people who are entrepreneurial, and we talked about this in MABE sometimes, but it's the idea of like we're a little bit unemployable. But I wanted to do something for myself, and I said, if I'm going to grind and I'm going to work and I'm going to put in all this time and energy and effort, I want it to be investing in myself and something I'm building.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take on that accountability and that responsibility on my own shoulders and kind of see if I could do it again. Like I did it with Cutco, but that was early and that was different. And I wanted to see, like, can I do this now as a real professional and make money to support our family? So
yeah,
it was a total burn the ships, like take it on and see what you got kind of moment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you started with Val Vista Lakes with N2 Publishing, right?
Yep.
So N2, Val Vista Lakes, then you rolled into Seville, or was it
Agritopia?
Agritopia.
So yeah, we started Agritopia in January of 2017. I started working on that. We launched that one in August of 2017, and we did. Before I sold that one recently, we put together 100 issues, and they did this thing kind of cool. The company, they gave us this book with our first 100 issues.
Oh, wow.
And it was actually exactly 100 issues before I transitioned that one to Holly.
No kidding.
So Agritopia, yeah, we did 100 issues there, 100 months. So that was super fun.
That's really cool.
And then in the fall of 2022, Seville was in a situation where they were going to close the Seville publication. Wasn't doing well. There have been some things that kind of happened, and some just unfortunate situations. And I just raised my hand. I said, "Hey, if you're gonna close it, like let me close it. Like let me give it a shot, see if I can save it." And I took that thing over. We did our first issue there in January of 23.
Okay.
And this week is our deadline for the April issue, so that'll be 3 years plus 4. So I guess our 40th issue in Seville.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
It's been a little over 3 years. Is that right? 23, 24, 25, yeah. So a little over 3 years running Seville. Recently transitioned Agritopia to Holly, who was on my team for like 8 years, and kind of trained her and helped her learn the business. Now she's running that. She's doing awesome, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm running Seville and Val Vista Lakes.
When you look back on the early days of getting into this, were there points at which you thought this isn't going to work? And what did you do to keep yourself going?
I think that on a regular basis sometimes.
Even still today.
I have things that happen and I just have this doubt that creeps in. And I was just on the phone with a colleague today who's been really successful, and we were just talking about this. Because I think you go through seasons, and like right now I'm in a challenging season of trying to restaff, regroup. I just hired an amazing content coordinator. She's super awesome. But even though she's awesome, like I still have to train her, and we're learning how to work together and that kind of thing. So it's, we're not in a baseball season that has 160. I mean, the thing about business is it's 365 days a year, right? It's not like a baseball season where it's 162 games. You get some off season, right? Like businesses every day, pretty much every hour if you let it be. But I think business and life, we go through these seasons, and whether it's the beginning season of growing the publication and getting it off the ground. I remember my first issue ever was January of 2015.
Okay.
And our deadline for January is December, essentially like December 3rd or 4th, something like that. And I'll never forget, I got the first issue put together, hit submit on it, and I felt so accomplished because I had worked 8 months to put this thing together. And then immediately I had this incredible panic attack of it's December 4th or whatever. Christmas is in a couple of weeks, and I have to put another one of these together on January 5th. And as soon as I hit submit on the first one, I realized I have no idea how I'm going to put the next one together. And I'm like, I'm going to be one and done. Like, this is going to be the end of my magazine career.
Yeah.
How in the world am I ever going to get this next one done? And it was just sheer panic. And it was like, it was like manna from heaven. It was like, it just came together.
Yeah.
And met some amazing people. And now I tried to add it up on the way over here. I mean, we've done almost 300 publications.
That's impressive.
Which is wild.
That is.
But you go through these seasons, and sometimes it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And you just got to dig deep and just keep going and try not to quit.
Yeah. Top 20 in the country?
Yeah, that was kind of cool. So it's really because we had 3 publications. Most people are not crazy enough to try to do 3 of these things. There's a handful of us that were crazy enough to do that, and I'm back to 2. But by having 3, like the volume of 3 publications, put us for 2024 and 2025 in the top 20.
Wow.
In the company. And it's, you got to be on top of your game to be able to just sustain that and manage that. We did that for about 3 years, I guess.
Yeah. Running 3 different publications, I'm assuming there's staff that goes along with that. Obviously, you were running offices back in the heyday when you were running around doing Cutco stuff. How do you feel you've changed as a leader over time?
Big thanks to Maritime USA for sponsoring the show, helping businesses simplify payment processing and reduce unnecessary fees. If you're tired of overpaying to accept cards, it might be time for a better option. Learn more at maritimeusa.com.
This episode is supported by Rocks Ink Calligraphy, where every piece is created by hand and designed to be remembered. From custom calligraphy and engraving to live event personalization, Rocks Ink turns meaningful moments into lasting art. Learn more at rocksink.com.
Yeah, that's a good question. How have I changed as a leader? So I would lead these big sales teams, and really it was about trying to. I had a motto of, I don't know if I should say this in public.
Of course you should.
So our motto at the time was push them up or push them out. Like our motto was, we need to push these people for them to maximize whatever their potential is. Mm-hmm. And some people, when you push them, they rise. And some people, when you push them, they're just not ready for it. And we really we believed in our people, and we wanted to push them to either fulfill their potential or go find what might be a better opportunity for them, right? And that worked in sales, but what I'm doing now isn't necessarily sales driven as a leader. It's more about leading my team, and I have a small team of part-time employees, but it's also leading the vision for the publication. It's leading the vision for people in the neighborhood. It's leading the vision for our advertisers and even for the nonprofits that we work with. Mm-hmm. And what I would do vision casting as a sales leader was kind of creating the future, predicting the future, and showing that it can be possible. And when I started the publications, it was kind of the same thing. It was like, okay, we're doing something that's never been done before. There'd never been a publication in Val Vista Lakes from us that like what we do, and even in Agritopia. And people kind of thought I was crazy. I mean, I had so many people, this is never going to work. It's never going to happen. But I think as a leader, it's really about painting the vision, creating the vision, believing in your vision, being passionate about the vision. And as you share that with people, then people are attracted to that. And if you're doing a good job sharing it, you attract good people, I think.
When you talk about Cutco and ADP to a point, I always think about Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what it was like? I mean,
ADP probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to some degree, probably Cutco.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty intense sales. Things I think are different nowadays in the Cutco world. Cutco's evolved a lot.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of cool the way it's evolved. But yeah, here's some random fact. My mom was really good friends with the Baldwins, actually. And I went over, so I don't think it was any relation, but the Baldwins, Alec Baldwin's, whatever the guy, right?
Yeah.
He's the coffeeist for closers, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. So his mom lived in Baldwinsville. I don't think there's any relation between Baldwins and Baldwinsville, but Baldwinsville was right next to Central Square.
Okay.
And my mom and my stepdad were really good friends with them. And one time we were up there and we went over to their house, and it was so funny. We like pull up and there was like this motorcycle rally or something. So I'm like going up to the door and like Stephen Baldwin's there and he rolls up on his bike.
No kidding.
He's like, hey, let me get the door for you. And he's like, hey man, he's just like you see in the movies, right? Super cool guy though.
Yeah.
And William was there and we hung out for, I don't even know. I was probably in high school or college.
That's
something
crazy.
like that. It was around that time frame. And Alec wasn't there. But we hung out over at their mom's house for a couple hours, and I don't know if they're still friends or not, but they used to be pretty tight because their nieces, there's like some relationship between like, I think my stepdad's daughters and their girls or something like that.
Okay.
So there's a relationship there with the Baldwins. So
interesting.
it was so it's kind of funny. But
That's funny.
I was in the kitchen, and William Baldwin was like making a bottle for his baby or something. He like walks in his boxers and I'm like standing there and like it's just weird. It's just kind of bizarre. We're like
crazy.
hanging out with Stephen Baldwin in the living room. Yeah. But random little
That's funny.
trivia.
They're real people.
Yeah,
You
no,
just don't
totally.
see
Yeah,
it.
and super cool, just super down to earth. Yeah, like real people. You know what I mean?
That's
But
awesome.
at the time they're super famous, there's like
yeah.
Biodome and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
So part of the mission, and I will get this wrong, of Stroll, which is now Stroll,
Yeah.
is connecting neighbors to each other
Yep.
and businesses, right?
Yep.
Nonprofits. How does that mission with regards to Stroll fit into you personally, and how have you made that part of your life?
So that's not really a Stroll thing. In 2019, I'd been doing this for 5 years and I was struggling. I was going through a hard time. And it was like in one of these seasons where I just couldn't figure it out. 2018 was really hard. 2018 was like a down year. Like I was growing. 2018 was terrible, challenging. 2019, I was trying to turn it around. I was doing this for 5 years. I'm like, I felt like I figured out how to run the business after 5 years. But I didn't know if I wanted to keep doing this. So every 5 to so years, I kind of like, do I really want to keep doing this? And I have a friend, Rajiv Patel, who owns some Nikos and a bunch of different businesses. He made awesome wallets for a while. He recommended Traction. And the back of Traction says, do you run your business or does your business run you? And that really spoke to me. And it was the whole EOS model. So I read this Traction book and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And that was September of 2019. I start implementing this Traction process and on all the stuff in my business. And I was just like starting to like maybe start to build some momentum. And then you have 2020 and I just decided I'm going to go for it. Like, I'm not going to cower. I'm not going to fold. Like, we're going to run this business and we're going to help some people and we're going to implement this whole Traction thing. And what I came up with in Traction, it took me a few months, but luckily I did it before 2020, the mission, the vision, and I wanted to make a positive difference in Gilbert through what we're doing. And I think everybody says they want to make a positive difference. It's easy. It's kind of like a buzzword kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, but how do we actually do that? So I looked back in the last 5 years and I said, what actually makes a difference? What is helping people? And I realized that by connecting people in the neighborhood, that was really where everything started. We were able to really help people connect that might not otherwise meet. And that was like really impactful in their lives. I was able to introduce businesses in a way that they wouldn't necessarily get access or get exposure in these communities if they weren't working with us. And it's hard for a business to build its brand. It's hard to be top of mind, especially in neighborhoods like this. And because it is so close knit and everybody's trying to reach them and all that kind of stuff. So that was something that I could tell tangibly we were making a positive difference there. And then the nonprofit thing, I learned along the way that I had this, I would say, responsibility to steward our influence well with people in these communities. And we were able to do that to help certain nonprofits. And there were some that I kind of gravitated towards. I worked with Winged Hope for a long time. They just recently celebrated their 13th year as they kind of closed down and went in a different direction. But Winged Hope was a big one. And I kind of came up with those three things. So connecting neighbors, introducing businesses, and giving through partnerships with nonprofits. And I said, that's something that we do.
Yeah.
I'm confident that we're able to do that. And that's how we make a positive difference in Gilbert through these neighborhoods. And then 2020 came and I just leaned into those three things. I'm like, how do we keep neighbors connected when everything's going crazy? How do we continue to introduce businesses when everything's going crazy? And where are our opportunities to partner with nonprofits to help people at this kind of time in the world?
Yeah.
And that's how it came about.
How do you get your team on board with that? Or do you need to? I mean, are they already there?
That's a good question. So I didn't do this well early on, but I kind of came up with this whole thing in 2019. So it was after I had a couple of longtime employees. Andrea has been with me, probably 10, 11 years. She's awesome. But I came up with this after her. It was even after I hired Holly. But now the EOS model led down to certain values, things that are important to me in the way we run the business that supports that mission and vision. And I would lead my interviews when I was interviewing and recruiting people and training people with the values. This is what we're about in the interview process. And that would help me attract the right kind of person that would align with those values, that could see the vision for what we're building, for what we're all about. And that's helped me in who I've hired. And I think how effective they've been in being bought into what we're doing. Because it can be difficult. I mean, any job can be difficult. But if you're bought into the mission and the vision and supported by the right values and hiring and firing based on those values, then that's helped us be pretty successful. It's helped me have really good tenure with my team. And the tenure with the team's stability with the team obviously is super important because you're not training that often.
Yeah. So have you been in a situation where there's been a we'll call it a difficult decision to make, and you've got to go back to those three, we'll call them pillars, to say, how does this serve the mission? Yeah. And how do you work yourself through those processes?
In handling difficult situations.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I try to be aware of the right thing to do based on my faith. I think it was overarching thing, but when you boil it down to the business, you got to have certain things you make decisions based on. And a lot of it's based on the values that we have within my little organization here. And then are we doing one of those three things? Like, is this an opportunity to help a nonprofit? Are we able to connect people in a certain way, in the neighborhood? Or what's the opportunity here to help introduce this business? So we look at the values and kind of compare that to those three things. And if we're doing one or more of those three things, that's really what we lean into. And sometimes it's difficult. I mean, sometimes you gotta make tough decisions. Yeah. It's not always pretty in business. No. Like I had a difficult conversation earlier today with somebody who's in a difficult situation, and it's just, things are difficult sometimes. But you try to do the right thing. And I'd rather err on the side, like one of our values is giving. And I'd rather err on the side of giving and helping and supporting somebody. And it may not come back to me directly from that person, but I feel like if I do the right thing, good things happen. So.
Off the wall question.
Yes.
That just popped into my head. Do you, within the publication, in attempting to help people, let's say you've got a business that might be struggling or something along those lines, and obviously you have to make decisions based on what's good for the business. But do you have, I don't put you on the spot, I guess. Do you have we'll call it a scholarship program? So you go in and you say, hey, here's a business that might be suffering a little bit in the community. Maybe we could help them.
That's a difficult question to ask.
We can breeze over it.
No, I mean, 2020 was hard. Yeah. And I don't want to mention the name of the business, but I'll speak generally. I had a business that I signed up to start advertising. I think she signed in January or the beginning of February. And the first ad was coming out in March or April. I think it was April. And in the end of March, her business got, we're going to call it shut down by the government because of everything that was happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this lady just signed up to advertise, and now her business is closed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of situations that are similar to that, kind of adjacent to that. And I just said, okay, let's work together. Like, let's try to figure this out. And I'm going to invest in you, and I'm going to try to help you get through this. I'm going to look for opportunities to introduce you to people in the neighborhood. I'm going to look for ways to minimize or eliminate your expenses to go through this, because I believe in you, and I want you to be with us when we come out of this thing. And from time to time, you go through these difficult situations with people where they're in a tough spot, and sometimes you get taken advantage of, is my experience. But overall, if you're honest with them and they're honest with you, you can help people work through some difficult situations sometimes, financially as far as the marketing and stuff goes. But and that ended up turning out really, really well when that advertising contract came up for renewal. That person ended up renewing and I think doubling the amount of time that they were with us too.
Oh, wow.
So 2020 especially, but then from time to time, other businesses get in tough spots, and you try to help them out, and you try to, as long as they're honest with you. And my wife, sometimes she says some people try to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But, I feel like overall I kind of know, even when I'm getting, somebody's trying to take advantage of me, I'm a little bit more savvy now. But I'd err on the side of trying to help them and give and serve them in a difficult time, because I think ultimately it comes back. And if you can help somebody out in a difficult situation, they're going to remember that.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is helping a business stay top of mind within like our neighborhood, because if they're able to stay top of mind, they eventually will win business that way. I mean, that's how business works, right? It's like branding and top of mind awareness and that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
So it can be tough. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So one publication seems to me like it would be a lot of work.
Can be a lot of work.
2 publications seems like it would keep you running ragged.
Yep.
3 publications seems like some type of weird psychotic death sentence. How do you keep up with running 3 businesses, in essence?
Yeah, I mean, it's really 3 different franchises, locations.
Being a husband, being a father, taking care of I don't know how many chickens.
Yeah. And all the other stuff.
How do you balance all that stuff and still find time to not burn out?
I'm not going to say I haven't burned out. Okay. I don't know about that, but it's funny. Holly and I were just talking about this today, because she's like, I don't understand how you did 3 of these things. And we were talking about that earlier today. One, I think I set good boundaries from the beginning with the publications as far as the business, when I'm available, when I'm not available. I very, 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 very rarely ever answer a message, take a call after about 5 or 6 o'clock during the week, and virtually never on the weekend. You could probably count on one hand the number of business conversations I've had on the weekend.
Gotcha.
That doesn't mean I don't work sometimes on the weekend if it's a deadline and things have to get done, but it's not public facing. It's, me hunkering down, taking care of deadline stuff. And I might be up till 11, 12, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning on a Saturday because something has to get done, but I communicate that, or try to, at least with Nicole, and we try to be intentional on the time we spend together to keep that husband-wife relationship in a good place. And it's marriage. I mean, marriage, we've been together 22 years. So there's good times and challenging times, but trying to be really intentional there. Trying to be intentional with our girls as far as when we're spending time together. And when I was a kid, I always wondered, I would listen to that song Cats in the Cradle, and oh my gosh, that always make me cry. But I always wonder, what kind of parent am I going to be? And even today, trying to spend intentional time with Bree, and trying to be intentional with my wife, our 2 girls, trying to block off the time to build some boundaries with time with business. And then within that business time, how do I run things efficiently? Part of it, when I took over Seville, is there's physically no way I can do all this. So I had to build automations. So I built a lot of technology into our business. I spent a lot of time using technology and automations to make the process easier, to make it more seamless, and just to save us time.
Yeah.
I told Holly earlier today, I've tried to bend Parkinson's law to my favor. Are you familiar with Parkinson's law? You probably are, but it's a law that says the amount of time you give something, the task will take the amount of time that you allot for it. So if I say, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 hours to get this task done, more than likely I'm going to take 2 hours to get it done. If I say I'm going to get that same task done in an hour, more than likely I'll probably get it done in an hour. I'm a big fan of the Checklist Manifesto, that book. And I've built my team. Sometimes they hate me for this because they're like, you have so many checklists, so many to-do lists and all this stuff. But it's we want to bring consistency to our output, to the publication and everything we're doing, and to the experience. So we have checklists for everything. So building good checklists, building good processes, leading into the EOS model through that book Traction to build all the stuff out. And that allowed us to, I don't know if you want to call it going from 1 to 3 scaling. That's kind of a stretch probably, but but to grow and to do 3 publications with the number of clients we have and that kind of thing. I think it starts with intentional time personally, putting boundaries in place, working within Parkinson's law to get things done in an amount of time. I use the Pomodoro technique, which is on 25 minutes, off 5, sometimes on 50, off 10. I got myself a little sand timer now. So
really?
25-minute sand timer I put on my desk.
Yeah.
And then systems, processes, checklists, and automations. And doing all that allowed me to grow to 3 pubs and, do well over the last few years.
If you could go back to the beginning of the publications, when you first stepped in, is there something that you would tell yourself to do differently at that point that would help you be further along than you are today?
I don't know. I was pretty naive back then, which I think is a really good thing. I wish I was a little bit more naive now. But probably just, I'd probably just tell myself, you got to believe in yourself. You can do this. You're going to do this. Yeah. You got to grind. But, if you put in the work, you'll get there. The formula I came up with over time and maybe I would have told myself this earlier, was truth plus gratitude plus action equals victory. And focusing on what's actually true, being grateful in that situation, whatever it is, and taking the appropriate action will help you be successful, victorious, whatever, however you want to phrase that, in whatever you're doing. And I've learned that probably the hard way over time, putting those 3 things together. But I think introducing that formula to my younger self would have probably made me a lot more successful in everything, whether it was baseball, Cutco, business, whatever it was. I think that's an important formula for my life.
Yeah. What makes Stroll different?
What makes Stroll different? So, on the surface, I think the ultimate answer to that is the people. But, and I just had this guy I was just kind of arguing with on the phone earlier today. And he was like, well, you're just a magazine, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, there's 100 magazines out there. And it was actually an insurance guy. One of the first people I went to in 2014, he's like,
damn insurance guy.
Nobody reads magazines anymore. This is never going to work. It was actually 2 insurance guys, which is kind of funny. It's never going to work. Nobody reads magazines anymore. It's 2014, and I don't want to talk to you. And now I swear there's more magazines than there was back then. Okay. And it's probably driven by us because we have like 1,000 publications across the country. So people see our company growth and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that's hard is I think we make it look easier than it is. And I think for Stroll, for us specifically in these neighborhoods, it's the connection with people in the community, that it's their stuff. It's not what Matt thinks is interesting. It's not a bunch of like AI generated content that you can pull off of some AI site or something like that, which a lot of magazines these days that's what they're doing. It's real stuff that people are actually interested in, not what I think is interesting. And that is an important distinction. Dale Carnegie talks about that distinction in How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? The distinction between if you want to appear interesting, be interested, but you could relate to the publication. The reason why, and I brought a couple of them, but the reason why people love this thing is because it's their stuff. Yeah. It's their families, it's their kids, it's their pets, I remember this kid, and I learned this lesson a long time ago, and it was an important lesson. He was making brownies, okay? And he wanted his brownie recipe to be in the magazine. So he made these brownies. He took pictures. He sent them over to me. And the picture was terrible. It was like a blonde brownie, whatever you call it, where it's vanilla. Yeah. But his picture was like green. Okay, the picture was terrible. And I asked his mom, I said, hey, can you have him retake the picture? And she's like, he already ate, I'm sorry. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to run the green brownies in the magazine. You know what? He was so excited that his brownies made the magazine. No kidding. Even though the picture was like green. Yeah. And that's what I learned. Like when it's their stuff in these neighborhoods, when people contribute their things, it's something important to them. They want to be part of it. They want to contribute to it. They want to read it. They want to be involved in what we're doing. And that makes all the difference. It's not just what is generally interesting to the general public, or it's not super pretty, and there's prettier magazines, but it's really the people that help contribute and put it together, which is part of the reason why most of our revenue comes from people who live in these neighborhoods, because they own businesses and they know it's the thing that people in the neighborhoods read, and they want to be part of it because they want their business seen by their neighbors, and they know like they read it because it's their stuff. It's what they're actually interested in.
So the publication is, or the content in the publication, in essence, is free and generated by residents of the neighborhood.
Yep.
And then you pay for the publication through advertisement.
Yeah, I mean, that's the model. So the revenue comes from advertising, and we find businesses who want to reach these neighborhoods. And usually they're businesses that have been around for a few years. They know the neighborhood. They usually have a couple of good clients in the neighborhood or good customers in the neighborhood. Like I have a client who's been with us. She started with us in 2012 in Seville, and she's in the process of reducing her workload business-wise. And you would think on the surface that maybe she shouldn't keep advertising if she's trying to reduce the number of clients she has. And I had this whole conversation with her, but her best clientele come from, in this case, Seville. So she wants to continue her ad in Seville, even though overall she's taken on less workload because they're some of her top people. So, businesses want to be in front of these people and want to share their business. They serve the community. They tend to do a really good job. They tend to get great word of mouth, and they just want more people in the neighborhood to know who they are and what they do. So that's where the revenue side comes from. And then we build relationships with people in the neighborhood, just people nominating their neighbors. Sometimes I'm out knocking on doors, introducing myself, just inviting people to dinners and happy hours and to volunteer events. Like we're doing a volunteer event this weekend at Midwest Food Bank, and just getting people involved, just building connections, building relationships. It's a very relationship-driven program. They say it's relationship marketing, kind of, it's a phrase that we use, but that's really where it starts.
So 2 questions. Ow. Oh, sorry, just kicked the mic out. If somebody wants to get in the magazine, obviously reach out to you.
Right.
How would they find you?
So they can, I don't know how you're going to do this, but they can call me, text me.
I will link. There will be links. But
they can check. Some people want to check out what we're doing, and the publication itself is private, so it's not publicly available. Part of the reason why people share their stuff with us is because they know it's private for their community. It's not stacked up at the grocery store and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we do have an Instagram where we share a kind of a look into what we're doing. So the Instagram here locally is, we have Stroll Seville, Stroll Val Vista Lakes, and Stroll Agritopia. I have a lot of clients in Agritopia. If somebody wants to be in Agritopia, I can help them with that. Of course, Holly can help them too, but I'd love to help them get into Agritopia. So they can kind of get a peek into what we're doing through our Instagram page. We're on Facebook too, but we try to do more on Instagram.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Call me, email me. I hate email, but they can call me, text me.
We'll make sure that we get you linked on there.
Yeah.
What do you hope people say about the publication when you're not around?
What do I hope people say about the publication when I'm not around? People really like the publications.
Yeah.
They really do. Yeah, I meet a lot of people, especially with Seville, because I didn't start Seville. Seville's been around since 2012. And I'll meet people that I've never met before. I'm like, oh, yeah, we love that thing. It's like our neighbors. And there's people who literally keep every single issue.
Oh, wow.
And they'll pass them down, like when they move, they'll keep them in the house. And I've had people reach out to me like, yeah, when we moved in, there's this whole stack of these magazines.
That's awesome.
And that's how I found your number. And I'm getting to know my neighbors because they put like who was in our subdivision, who was on our street, and they're like stacked up in that order and stuff. And I think that it's real, that it's real people, that we're really making a difference, that it looks good. It looks, people think that it looks good too, which is great, but it's not something you can find anywhere else. Like the stories in these things, they're unique to that community, to these people, and it's their stories, and it's kind of cool because these are like little time capsules, and we've had several people who we featured in the last 12 years who have passed away, and their family will reach out to us and be like, hey, can we get some extra copies of the magazine from when they were featured for the service and everything. And it's kind of cool. Like it's a neat opportunity I have to connect with people and share their story in a way that, just really doesn't exist probably for most people. Like I had a chance to meet a World War II vet, and we shared his story, and just amazing interaction, and it's just a great experience talking to this guy and hanging out with him, and I remember when he passed away and everything, and it's just an honor for me to be able to like share their story. We've had several situations like that where some of these are older folks, and it was just cool that I was kind of played a small role,
Yeah.
sharing their story, helping celebrate something for them. We had a lady who turned 100.
Help it live on.
Cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It seems like you have a real passion for this.
Yeah.
As much, I mean, it feels like it. It seems like it, and I'm sure that there's days where you question sanity and do I want to keep doing this? And just like any sales, peaks and valleys, right? What do you hope people say about Matt Dallas?
Oh man, I've never thought about that, or I haven't thought about that much recently. I don't know that I try to do a good job, try to help people. I guess I kind of look at this as an opportunity to give and to serve. And if I can serve people through those three things, and that made a positive, I mean, it goes back to like making a positive difference, right? Like if I can make a small positive difference in somebody's world, then hopefully they're better off for that, I guess. I don't know. That's a good question. Do you ever think about that question?
Oh, for sure.
I did this a few years ago, and at this point I can't remember. I have a terrible memory, but do you ever write your own obituary?
I've never done that.
It's a good exercise.
Never done that, but I do wonder. It's interesting because, like, when I run into people that I don't see very often, or that maybe I've met once or twice, and they remember my name. Yeah. And this is probably a weird thing to say, but it floors me. Like it impresses me that they would remember who I am. I don't know. Yeah. It's a weird. What's the? They say it's a syndrome. We talked about it. I don't remember. But anyways, it's one of those things where I feel imposter syndrome. It's one of those things where I just feel like, I don't know, would somebody, am I memorable? Would somebody say good things about me? When I'm gone.
Yeah. That's a deep question. Because, and you asked me about this earlier, but I share on a regular basis, I share Bible verses and things about my faith on social media. And I always wonder, and hopefully it's not for a long time, but I always wonder, like, what's my last social media post going to be? There's going to be a last one, right?
Oh, wow. God, that's deep.
And what I started doing a few years ago is I try to post on Instagram, and usually that goes to Facebook, but it has like 3 tiles across. And what I started doing probably like 4 or 5 years ago is every third post I do a Bible verse. So like if you look at my Instagram, it's like Bible verses down one whole column. And so at least that'll be the second or third, one on there. But I've had a lot of people, especially in 2020, 2021, when things are just kind of weird and crazy. A lot of people would reach out to me and they would, comment on that, in that I was somehow brave, or I don't know. They would tell me that they couldn't share the things that I would share. They aligned with them, they thought them, but they couldn't share them because they were worried about repercussions from their job or their whatever. And so hopefully, as people think about me, maybe they'll be inspired to explore their faith more based on some of the stuff that I've shared through public means like social media, I guess.
I think that's really cool. I mean, I would say that I definitely feel that from my perspective, because of, the clients that I deal with and stuff. It's like, I don't want to upset the cart. So, it's like, what are my feelings? What are my beliefs? Those types of things. You try to keep them as neutral as possible, but at the same time, you kind of feel like, okay, well, are we supposed to keep them neutral to keep people happy, or should we, focus on, God? And it's a weird, when you start really, for myself, anyways. And I was we were in Palm Springs not too long ago, and I was driving back, and it's funny because my stepdaughter sent me a podcast to listen to on the way back. And she sent me a message, I don't know, a couple hours in. She says, have you listened to it? I'm like, no. And then I got back to the house. She says, did you listen? I'm like, nope. I literally didn't turn on the radio the entire way. I just sat in silence and just had like conversations in my mind about.
Wait, so you're just by yourself then?
Yeah, just by myself. And I'm just like literally just driving and having those conversations. And sometimes I do that where it's just, thinking about what type of impression do I leave on people? Is it a good impression? Am I doing things on a daily basis to hopefully make somebody else's day better? Yeah. Right. I feel it's hard sometimes, obviously, and we're all human, when somebody flips you off or tells you something bad or yells at you, to remember that more than likely it's just a reflection of how their day's been, not necessarily how you're treating them, but to be able to stop and go, okay, that's okay. I can absorb that and, move on. But what's next for Matt Dallas?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I've been doing this for 12 years.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it because of the challenge. It's a challenging business to be in. It's of all the businesses I could have been in, like this is probably one of the most challenging, I would say. So there's still this constant challenge that keeps me wanting to improve and do better and that kind of thing. There's a lot of other cool stuff out there. I mean, my interests have changed over the last 12 years. I've grown personally, professionally. So I don't know. I mean, the short term, everybody asks me, am I going to do another publication? I don't know. I might add a third at some point. I think right now it's really just a matter of focusing on Seville and Val Vista Lakes and just trying to do good there while I focus on my family. You know, like it went so quick. Maddie's in college and Bree's almost 13, and I'm trying to pretty soon simplify.
30 years old and have a grandbaby.
Hopefully, I can't wait to be have grandbabies. But I think it's like trying to simplify. Like that's kind of where we are, Nicole and I, right now. Trying to simplify the business a little bit, going to 2 publications, just creating excellence in those 2, and in exploring my personal interests and outside of the business and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of things I would love to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you win lottery, money becomes no issue. We say that, but then at the end of the day, really would we?
That's a good question. I mean, I really enjoy certain aspects. I mean, certain aspects are really challenging. It's business, right? So some things are just tough and you just got to deal with it. But there's some really cool things that we get to do through this publication thing that, just wouldn't happen otherwise. Yeah. I mean, there's connections I've made and help people. And that's like the really rewarding part of things. So I don't know. If I had $1 billion, would I still do it?
You know what's crazy? Because I think that too. Like if I was independently wealthy, whatever that number is, and I didn't have to worry about it, would I still do what I'm doing today? And quite honestly, when I'm not worried about money, I very much enjoy what I do. When I start stressing out about money, everything gets hard.
Yeah. I have a friend who sold his business for $1 billion recently.
Wow.
He has partners.
Dude, that's crazy.
But I thought, so he told me this was going to happen, and I didn't know the number. I knew it was going to be big. I didn't realize it was going to be that big. And I thought he was going to ride off into the sunset. And I don't know if he's probably not going to watch this, but he might, who knows. He was my friend from high school.
Oh, okay.
And I saw him, we reconnected. It's been almost 30 years since we've seen each other. And he's going bigger. He's taking on, in the same business, same industry, taking on a bigger challenge because he thrives in that environment of challenge, of doing something some people think he can't do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't bet against him. But it's kind of the thing, like he did it, and he's going back and doing it again. So it's easy to say what we think we might do, but
yeah,
for some of us and I don't know if I'm this way. I'm not in that scenario right now.
Right.
But I may be competitive enough that if I did have that option, I'd still keep doing it.
Yeah. I kind of wonder myself.
Yeah.
Because I think I would in some capacity, whether it's still in the insurance world or some other world.
Because you like helping people. You like helping their business.
I love connecting people. I love helping people. I love learning about people, just having conversations. This podcast has really given me the opportunity to dig deeper into a side of me that I didn't really understand that I had, which is kind of, there's a creative but inquisitive side. And so it's really been fun and learning that and going, okay, how can I be better? How can I do this better? How can I make it beneficial for the guest, beneficial for the listener, beneficial for me? What does that look like? What does that formula look like?
Not easy to do,
And really it has nothing to do with, how do I monetize it or anything like that? Because if I never monetize it, no big deal, at least at this point.
Yeah.
It's more about, could I do this?
Yep.
I did it.
Yeah.
Okay, how can I make it better?
Right.
I made it better.
Yeah.
Now how can I really make it good?
Yeah.
And so it's weird. And quite honestly, I would, if I could afford it, I'd hire people to start doing the marketing and go, okay, now I want to do this piece. And I've got all these ideas that just filter around in my head. So I think if I was in that position, no, I don't think I would stop.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, because there is something about standing somewhere on the mountain and going, I'm going to reach the peak and let's go.
Yeah.
Who's coming with me?
And then what's the next peak?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got to that one. Oh, look, there's a bigger one. Let's go. Climb to that one. So anyways, I'm trying to think if I got more questions for you. I feel like I should. I feel like you could tell me more about Stroll. I mean, I'm impressed with your publication. What I love about it is what you've already said, and that is that you're telling stories about the people in the community and helping them share their stories. And I really truly feel like, that knowing who your neighbors are, we live in such a large area.
Yeah. It's especially in Arizona. Arizona's you pull up, your garage door goes up, you pull into the garage door goes down, you don't talk to your neighbors. And that's pretty typical.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to do this in here is kind of cool.
How do you go about curiosity, deciding who you're going to tell a story about, or do people like send in resumes? Hey, tell my story.
A lot of people just nominate their neighbors.
Okay.
Sometimes it's me. I connect with somebody. I'm like, hey, you're new to the neighborhood. Would you like us to help introduce you to more people in the community? Sometimes it's that. Going back to the automation thing, I created a system through some different technologies that I put together where people can nominate their neighbors. And that has helped us generate articles and stories for the publication that I don't think it was possible, at least for me. I wouldn't have been able to do all 3 publications for over 3 years without having those automations.
Gotcha.
So a lot of it is just, somebody knows somebody, they refer them. Hey, I saw you did a story on this person. You just do a story on this person. It's very organic. And it's crazy to me to think that it's been almost 300 publications of hundreds of people that I've connected with, that I've met, that I've had an opportunity to share their story, whether it's people or pets. People love their pets, and people love when their pets are featured,
Do you ever feel like you've worked hard to get somebody to allow you to do a story on them? You do it, and it's great, and the euphoria or whatever, it happens, and then it's like all of a sudden it's in the rearview mirror, and you're like, move on.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a little bit of guilt that settles in because you're like, God, I worked so hard to get that in there.
But, I mean, yeah, because here's the thing. The reality is there's a business side to this where you have to do a new one every month.
Right.
Right. So going back to my very very first publication, deadlines are usually the 5th of the month. So let's just say December 5th.
Mm-hmm.
I worked super hard, build these relationships in the community, and I'm getting their story told. And then we're wrapping up that issue, finalizing it, doing proofs, and approving it. But right away, I'm back into who's the next person we're going to feature. And sometimes people are like, yeah, it's cool. We got featured. It's great. Some of these people I really get to know well, and I would love to be able to continue a relationship with them. And some of them over time I have, but yeah, it can be a little bit of that, whatever that feeling is of, man, I wish we could keep talking, but I gotta.
It's almost like you don't have enough time in the day to keep up on all the stuff.
Because I've met thousands of people.
Yeah.
Whether it's networking, business, or in the community.
That's incredible.
Which is it's a totally unique business.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything else I think that there is out there. But I think it's a honor to be a part of it, as long as I am.
Well, it's been great to have you on. We will make sure that we link you in both your Facebook cool. and your Instagram account. We'll get everything out to you, but I really appreciate it.
This has been fun.
Yeah. Anything I need to know about you before I say...
Oh, man, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we covered a lot of stuff.
Anything we need to share with anybody? No?
No, I think we're good. I'm pretty public. My stuff's pretty much out there, so if somebody wants
if you guys haven't seen these publications, quite honestly, and Matt's got some here. These things they're high quality. The pages are thick. It's not like a regular, pick up a magazine in the newspaper aisle. High quality imaging.
So I still call these neighborhood newsletters. Some people think I shouldn't do that, and they're trying to get me to call them magazines.
They're not magazines, though.
Most people call it a magazine.
Sorry,
but so here's the reason why I call it a neighborhood newsletter.
That's 101.
Yeah, so that's our first 100 covers, which is kind of cool. You definitely know some people in there right from the jump. From our first issue. But so the distinction, and I've been saying magazine more recently.
Yeah,
but the reason why I think it should be a newsletter, newsletters have a negative connotation. If you call somebody and tell them we do a newsletter, they don't
Yeah.
really picture this at all whatsoever. But it's really like the highest quality neighborhood newsletter there is in the country, that nobody else does what we do, and nobody else tells the stories the way that we do in these communities, by getting to know people in the neighborhood, sharing their stuff, their families, their kids, their stories.
Yeah.
And, that's what makes these things great. And that's, something I have the privilege to help orchestrate every month. So it's great. I love it.
Yeah. Well, very awesome. And I've enjoyed getting to know you better here in this session, but over the years, having you as a friend, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Of course.
We will definitely be sharing this out, and
Awesome. Thanks, John.
hope you get you some notoriety more than
thank you.
you already have. So,
Well, I appreciate it.
Anyways.
It's an honor. This is Matt Dallas, and I went above and beyond.
Stories we share beyond the fairways, friendships grow in APN's embrace, opportunities flow. No happy talking, just real deals, authentic connections, the kind that heals. From Palm Springs to Pine Top Grace, APN's network spans every place. Above Pond Network, we're going above and beyond, reaching new heights. In networking realms, scaling the heights. From mixers to golf, our spirits unite. APN's the beacon, our guiding light. So here's to APN, where dreams align. In every connection, a chance to shine. Above and beyond, we'll always strive. In APN's network, we truly thrive.
Before you go, if you want marketing that actually moves the needle, check out lzrmarketing.com. Expert marketing solutions for your business. From websites and social to ads that convert, Liz and Riley help you stand out and grow. That's LZR Marketing, laser focused on your success.
Like, share, and subscribe to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. Elevate your mindset, one episode at a time.